Have you ever wondered how multiple Arctic air masses can work together to create a historic winter weather pattern? Today, we're going to explore an extraordinary meteorological event unfolding across the United States. Three major atmospheric systems converging to bring significant winter weather to the eastern half of America over the coming weeks. While families are wrapping up their Christmas celebrations, let's understand what nature has in store for us. What if I told you that in just a few minutes, you'll have a clear understanding of this winter weather timeline? At the 2-minute 45-second mark, we'll walk through the specific dates when each Arctic air mass arrives. By minute 5, you'll know the 3 geographic regions where this pattern creates the most significant impacts. But first, let's consider this. Why do so many families find themselves unprepared for winter weather events? Did you know that atmospheric moisture levels are currently measuring 300% above seasonal averages? This remarkable measurement isn't an error in our instruments. We're observing atmospheric conditions so unique that meteorological professionals are describing this as an optimal environment for storm development and intensification. Can you picture how different weather systems interact to create complex patterns? Right now, we're witnessing a fascinating scenario where a powerful blizzard system with very strong winds is depositing substantial snowfall across the Midwest, while simultaneously, thunderstorm activity with electrical components is developing throughout Illinois. This represents just the initial phase of an extended atmospheric pattern that will influence our weather for several weeks. Have you ever felt atmospheric pressure changes before a storm? Across 7 states, we're measuring rapid drops in barometric pressure. Wind measurements are already causing infrastructure challenges, while snowfall rates reach 3 to 4 inches per hour in some locations. When the National Weather Service issues blizzard warnings for 15 million people, it reflects their serious concern for public safety. What exactly is a negative P&A pattern, and why should we understand it? While this current blizzard system impacts the Midwest, our atmospheric conditions are developing into what climatologists call a negative Pacific North American pattern, a configuration that can produce remarkable temperature variations, potentially dropping 50 degrees within 24-hour periods. How do we find meaning in nature's more challenging displays? Psalm 147, verse 16, beautifully describes how he gives snow like wool and scatters frost like ashes, reminding us that we're witnessing natural forces operating according to divine design, events that call for our respectful attention and thoughtful preparation. Would you like to understand the specific timeline that can help keep your family safe? Currently, Sunday evening, December 28th, this atmospheric low-pressure system is strengthening across eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. The snowfall intensity is so substantial that satellite imagery shows extensive white coverage developing across these regions. What can we expect as this system reaches its peak strength at 8 p.m. tonight? Pressure readings will drop to levels comparable to hurricane systems, while western Michigan's Upper Peninsula experiences what meteorological services classify as extremely heavy snowfall, with wind speeds that create challenging conditions for anyone outdoors. Emergency services report significantly reduced visibility across multiple counties. Are you curious about what Monday morning, December 29th will bring? This storm system will affect millions of Americans, from Michigan extending to Maine, potentially creating transportation challenges for 20 million people during morning commute hours as snow accumulates at rates of 2 to 3 inches per hour. Why is the timing of this weather event particularly noteworthy? This isn't occurring during a typical weekday when travel patterns are predictable. This is developing during the post-Christmas period, when millions of Americans will be traveling home from holiday visits, potentially encountering these weather conditions along their routes. When did you last review your vehicle's emergency preparedness supplies? This is an important question to consider, as research shows that 75% of Americans don't maintain basic winter emergency supplies in their vehicles. This means 3 out of 4 people might find themselves without proper resources if weather conditions require emergency assistance. Would you like to avoid being part of that unprepared 75%? Proverbs 22 verse 3 offers timeless wisdom. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. This principle encourages us to recognize warnings and respond with appropriate preparation. Do you understand what we're really observing in our atmosphere? This isn't simply one weather event. It represents a pattern shift, a fundamental change in atmospheric behavior that will influence weather conditions across most of America for approximately 2 to 3 weeks ahead. What begins on January 1st, 2025 that will reshape our winter experience? Multiple Arctic air masses will flow southward from Canada in a series of waves, each bringing progressively more intense cold conditions. We're not discussing typical winter temperatures, but rather consecutive Arctic intrusions that will bring temperature readings most Americans haven't experienced in recent years. What can we expect from Tuesday, December 30th's weather system? This date marks the arrival of the first Clipper system, a fast-moving storm pattern that will impact Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Toledo. This system may produce ice accumulations sufficient to stress power infrastructure, potentially affecting electrical service during very cold temperatures. How might Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, affect your celebration plans? The second Clipper system will affect Columbus, Cincinnati, Louisville, Nashville, and Knoxville, with potentially unexpected snowfall. This could create challenging travel conditions for people participating in New Year's celebrations, turning festive occasions into situations requiring careful safety considerations. What significant development might occur around January 6th? Atmospheric conditions may align to create what meteorologists describe as favorable conditions for East Coast storm development. A substantial low-pressure system could strengthen along the coastline, potentially bringing the first major snowstorm of winter to Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Can you imagine 18 to 24 inches of snow across the I-95 corridor? We're discussing America's busiest highway system potentially experiencing substantial snowfall accumulation. This could affect 40 million Americans, potentially creating significant impacts across the nation's most densely populated region. Are you located in one of the areas expecting immediate impacts? Minneapolis and the Twin Cities region. Your area is currently positioned to receive 12 to 18 inches of snow through Monday morning, with wind speeds reaching 60 miles per hour, creating snow accumulation patterns that could affect vehicle accessibility. What should residents of Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Madison understand about their forecast? These areas face significant blizzard conditions through Monday, with accumulations potentially reaching 15 to 20 inches. Wind chill temperatures may approach 40 degrees below zero, where exposed skin can develop frostbite within minutes, making outdoor exposure potentially dangerous. How will Monday morning conditions affect Chicago, Rockford, and Peoria? These cities may experience 10 to 16 inches of heavy wet snow during rush hour periods. The accumulation rate may exceed snow removal equipment capabilities. If travel isn't essential Monday morning, transportation agencies recommend avoiding roadways as emergency response vehicles are already experiencing operational challenges. What should Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, and Kalamazoo residents prepare for? These areas may receive 12 to 20 inches through Monday evening, followed by lake effect snow potentially adding 1 to 2 feet in areas downwind from Lake Michigan. Some communities might experience 3 or more feet of total accumulation by Wednesday morning. How will lake effect snow impact Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany? Lake effect snow production may begin Monday night, creating localized accumulations potentially reaching 2 to 4 feet in the most affected areas. Wind patterns may create snow accumulation reaching 8 to 12 feet in height, potentially making some residential areas temporarily inaccessible. What can Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown, and Erie expect? These cities may experience 12 to 18 inches Monday through Tuesday, followed by lake effect enhancement. Some lakefront communities might experience continuous snowfall for 72 hours, with accumulation rates consistently above 1 inch per hour. How will Pittsburgh, Wheeling, and Morgantown be affected? These areas will encounter the storm system Tuesday morning with 8 to 14 inches of snow, followed by potential ice accumulation as temperatures fluctuate around freezing. This creates elevated risk for power infrastructure due to ice loading on electrical systems. Which three regions face the most significant challenges from this winter pattern? First, the Great Lakes Snowbelt regions, particularly areas positioned downwind from Lakes Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, will experience persistent lake effect snow events that may continue for extended periods without interruption. Why is the I-95 corridor particularly vulnerable? Second, this transportation corridor from Washington, D.C. through Boston represents a high concern area for the potential January 6th storm system. This corridor serves as America's most densely populated transportation route, where significant snow events can immediately affect millions of people. What makes the Appalachian mountain regions especially challenging? Third, mountain areas from West Virginia through Vermont face particular risk from ice storm development. These elevated locations experience temperature patterns that create optimal conditions for ice accumulation, particularly affecting power lines and transportation infrastructure. Why is this winter pattern developing in the first place? The jet stream has established what meteorologists call an omega block, a configuration resembling the Greek letter omega. This pattern directs Arctic air masses to move southward through multiple pathways simultaneously, creating this unusual weather setup. How does this pattern differ from typical winter weather? Rather than Arctic air arriving in single brief episodes followed by warming periods, we're observing a pattern that reinforces itself, continuously drawing cold air from northern Canada and Arctic regions without the usual warming intervals between systems. What role do ocean temperature patterns play? The Pacific North American teleconnection pattern has shifted into a strongly negative phase, which historical data correlates with extended cold periods across the eastern United States. Combined with current La Niña conditions in the Pacific Ocean, this creates atmospheric dynamics that favor persistent winter weather patterns. How do Atlantic and Pacific Ocean temperatures influence our weather? Atlantic Ocean temperatures warmer than normal provide enhanced moisture content for developing storm systems, while Pacific Ocean temperatures, cooler than normal, reinforce the jet stream patterns that direct Arctic air southward toward populated areas. Could solar activity cycles be contributing to these patterns? Current solar minimum conditions may influence upper atmospheric circulation patterns, though the specific mechanisms remain subjects of ongoing scientific research and meteorological analysis. How long might this winter pattern persist? Historical analysis indicates that when these atmospheric configurations develop, the resulting weather patterns typically continue for 3 to 6 weeks before showing indications of moderation or change. What economic considerations should communities anticipate? Extended winter weather patterns can affect transportation systems, increase energy demand substantially, and require increased emergency response resources. Previous similar events have generated significant direct and indirect economic impacts across affected regions. How do extended winter conditions affect agricultural communities? Livestock require additional shelter and feed supplies during prolonged cold periods, while crop storage and transportation can become complicated by severe weather conditions, particularly affecting spring agricultural preparation activities. What challenges do energy infrastructure systems face? Natural gas distribution systems may operate at maximum capacity. Electrical grids experience peak demand periods, and renewable energy sources such as wind and solar may operate at reduced efficiency during extensive storm conditions. How do extended winter weather patterns affect public health services? Emergency medical services face operational challenges. Hospitals may experience increased patient volumes, and vulnerable populations require additional support services during power outages and heating system emergencies. What transportation safety measures should travelers understand? Highway departments across affected regions are preparing comprehensive snow removal operations. Airports are implementing extensive de-icing procedures, and rail services may experience significant delays or service modifications. How do emergency management agencies prepare for events of this scale? Federal, state, and local emergency management agencies coordinate response preparations, including staging emergency supplies, positioning response personnel, and establishing communication protocols for scenarios involving extended power outages affecting large populations. What considerations do educational institutions face? School districts must balance student safety priorities with educational continuity needs, particularly in regions where power outages may persist for multiple days or weeks, affecting both transportation and facility operations. How do retail and commercial operations adapt to winter weather disruptions? Business sectors adjust inventory management and staffing plans for anticipated disruptions. Food supply chains face particular challenges as consumer demand typically increases while transportation capabilities may be reduced significantly. What happens to technology infrastructure during extended winter weather? Cellular communication networks may experience high usage volumes, internet services could face disruptions from power outages, and communication systems require backup power capabilities to maintain emergency services connectivity. How can water utility systems be protected during extreme cold? Municipal water departments implement freeze protection protocols for their distribution systems, while private well owners need to ensure adequate protection for their water supply systems during extended periods of sub-zero temperatures. What home heating considerations should families review? Home heating systems will operate under high demand conditions. Regular furnace maintenance becomes important. Backup heating sources should be tested and prepared, and carbon monoxide detection systems require verification before extended heating system operation periods. How much emergency supply planning is appropriate for this weather pattern? While minimum 3-day supply recommendations are standard, given the potential duration of this weather pattern, 7 to 10-day supply planning would provide better safety margins. This includes food, water, medications, and alternative communication methods. What vehicle emergency preparations should drivers consider? Emergency equipment should include blankets, non-perishable food, water, flashlights, first aid supplies, basic tools, and cell phone charging capabilities. Many winter weather emergencies involve people becoming stranded in vehicles without adequate emergency resources. Why should families consider financial preparation for winter emergencies? Financial readiness includes ensuring access to cash reserves, as electronic payment systems may become unavailable during power outages. Banking services could experience disruptions, and ATM networks may not function normally during extended electrical service interruptions. How can individuals manage medication needs during extended winter weather? Prescription medication management becomes important for people with chronic health conditions. Prescription refills should be obtained in advance, and emergency medication supplies should be maintained in case pharmacy services become unavailable due to transportation or power disruption. What special considerations do pet owners need during winter emergencies? Animal care requires advanced planning during winter emergencies. Pets need adequate shelter, food, and water supplies, plus emergency veterinary contact information. Many public emergency shelters cannot accommodate pets, requiring advanced planning for animal care during potential evacuations. How can families maintain communication during winter emergencies? Communication planning helps families stay connected during challenging conditions. Establishing out-of-state contact persons, ensuring all family members understand emergency procedures, and maintaining alternative communication methods help when cellular networks become overloaded or unavailable. What additional safety considerations apply to elderly and disabled community members? Checking on neighbors who may need assistance, ensuring they have adequate heating and medical supplies, and verifying their emergency contact information is current and accessible become important community responsibilities during winter weather events. Why is document protection important during winter emergencies? Important papers should be stored in waterproof containers, and digital copies of critical documents should be maintained in accessible but secure locations for insurance claims and emergency assistance purposes. How can families address mental health considerations during extended winter weather? Extended isolation, stress from challenging conditions, and disruption of normal routines can affect psychological well-being. Maintaining social connections through available means and seeking appropriate support when needed become important considerations. What can we learn from how communities have faced similar challenges historically? Historical perspective shows that while severe winter weather events present real challenges, they also demonstrate remarkable human resilience and community cooperation. Neighbors help neighbors, strangers offer assistance, and communities typically emerge stronger from shared challenges. How does this winter pattern fit within broader climate understanding? While this particular winter pattern is exceptional, it falls within the range of natural climate variability. Long-term climate records show similar events have occurred historically, though their frequency and intensity patterns continue being studied as climate conditions evolve. How has scientific understanding of weather patterns advanced? Meteorological understanding continues advancing through improved computer modeling capabilities and enhanced observational networks. Scientists can now provide longer-range weather forecasts with greater accuracy levels than were possible in previous decades. What global weather patterns influence these domestic conditions? Arctic oscillation phases, European weather developments, and Asian monsoon patterns all influence North American atmospheric circulation through complex meteorological relationships that scientists call teleconnections. How have technological advances improved weather forecasting? Supercomputer modeling systems, satellite observation networks, and atmospheric profiling technologies create weather prediction capabilities that would have been impossible to achieve just a few decades ago. Have emergency response capabilities improved over time? Communication systems, coordination protocols, and resource deployment methods now allow more effective responses to large-scale weather emergencies compared to capabilities available to previous generations. How has public education about winter weather safety evolved? Weather awareness programs, emergency preparedness initiatives, and communication technologies help communities prepare more effectively for severe weather events than was possible when information systems were less developed. Have building standards improved resilience against winter weather? Building codes and infrastructure standards have evolved to better withstand severe weather conditions through modern construction techniques, improved materials, and enhanced engineering standards developed from lessons learned in previous weather events. Are energy systems more robust than in previous decades? Energy infrastructure has become more resilient through diversification strategies and improved maintenance protocols. While winter weather still challenges these systems, redundancy planning and rapid response capabilities have improved significantly over time. Do modern travelers have better safety resources? Transportation safety technologies, including GPS navigation systems, weather monitoring applications, and emergency communication devices, provide travelers with better information and safety resources compared to what previous generations had available. How have medical emergency response capabilities adapted? Emergency medical services maintain specialized protocols designed specifically for severe weather operations. With improved equipment, enhanced training programs, and better coordination systems for winter weather challenges. Have supply chain management systems become more resilient? Distribution networks, inventory management systems, and transportation alternatives now provide greater resilience during emergency conditions compared to supply chain capabilities available in previous decades. How do community resilience initiatives strengthen neighborhood preparedness? These programs encourage mutual assistance, resource sharing, and coordinated response efforts that strengthen overall community safety and recovery capabilities during challenging weather events. What environmental stewardship considerations apply during winter weather? Responsible approaches include efficient energy usage, wildlife protection considerations, and appropriate waste management adaptations that help minimize additional environmental stresses during challenging weather periods. Why should economic recovery planning begin before emergencies occur? Advanced planning through business continuity preparations, insurance coverage verification, and financial reserve management helps individuals and communities recover more effectively from weather-related disruptions. How do social services ensure continued support for vulnerable populations? Social services coordination ensures that vulnerable populations continue receiving necessary support through food assistance programs, shelter services, and healthcare access maintenance during severe weather events. What does long-term recovery involve after extended winter weather? Recovery from this type of winter weather pattern requires sustained community effort over time. Infrastructure repair, economic recovery, and social system restoration take coordinated effort extending well beyond the immediate emergency period. How do communities learn and improve from each winter weather experience? After-action reviews, community feedback sessions, and technical analysis help refine emergency management approaches for future severe weather events, creating continuous improvement in community preparedness and response capabilities. How does ongoing research improve winter weather forecasting? Scientific research continues working to improve forecasting accuracy and extend forecast lead times through better understanding of atmospheric dynamics, enabling longer-range predictions and more precise impact assessments for future weather events. What role do public-private partnerships play in emergency response? Coordination between government agencies, utility companies, transportation providers, and private businesses creates more comprehensive and effective emergency response systems than any single organization could provide alone. Why does individual preparedness remain fundamental? Individual and family preparedness provides the foundation for community resilience during winter weather emergencies. While institutional responses are very important, personal preparation provides the immediate safety margin that protects lives during the first critical hours of severe weather events. How can faith provide perspective during challenging natural events? Psalm 147, 16-17, reminds us that natural forces operate according to divine design. He gives snow like wool, scatters frost like ashes, hurls down hail like pebbles. Who can withstand his icy blast? The same Creator who governs these natural systems also provides strength for every challenge we encounter. Why is winter an essential part of Earth's natural design? Winter serves important functions in life-sustaining cycles. Without winter's dormancy period, plant life cannot properly prepare for spring growth. Without winter's cold temperatures, many diseases and pests that threaten agricultural crops and human health would flourish throughout the year. How do winter storms contribute to essential water supplies? Winter precipitation provides crucial water resources for many regions during the following growing season. Even challenging weather serves important purposes in the natural systems that sustain life, purposes that may not be immediately apparent but become evident over time. How can we find confidence in our ability to weather challenging times? We have successfully navigated severe weather events before in our personal lives and as communities, and we can navigate this atmospheric challenge as well. The same natural principles governing our atmosphere also provide us with wisdom to prepare appropriately and compassion to care for each other. What opportunities might this winter weather pattern create? This winter pattern will certainly test our preparation, our character, and our community relationships. However, it may also create opportunities for acts of kindness, for neighbors becoming closer, for strangers offering help, and for ordinary people to demonstrate extraordinary care through practical assistance. How can we stay well-informed and appropriately prepared? Stay informed through reliable weather information sources that provide accurate, timely meteorological updates. Maintain appropriate preparedness with emergency supplies that could prove very important during extended power outages and transportation disruptions. Stay connected to your community through mutual support networks. What perspective can help us through challenging weather periods? Most importantly, Maintain a perspective that recognizes purpose and hope, even during the most challenging weather patterns. Remember that spring always follows winter, that warmth always follows cold, and that community strength consistently emerges from shared challenges faced together. How can our preparation reflect care for our families and communities? Every preparation we make represents an expression of love and care for our families. Every time we check on neighbors, we create opportunities to demonstrate concern for others. Every resource we share with those in need multiplies positive impact in ways we may never fully understand. What kind of legacy might this historic winter weather pattern create? This winter weather pattern will likely be remembered for years to come. May it be remembered not only for the extreme meteorological conditions, but also for how communities supported each other, how neighbors helped neighbors, and how ordinary people chose kindness over fear in extraordinary circumstances. What will remain long after this winter weather pattern ends? Economic disruptions will be temporary. Power outages will be restored. Roads will be cleared. Snow will eventually melt. But the relationship strengthened during winter's challenges, the character revealed during difficult times, and the kindness demonstrated through action will have lasting positive impact. What creates lasting community strength? Until our next weather information update, remember that every challenging weather event eventually passes, but the kindness we show each other during winter's trials creates community strength that continues long after spring warmth melts the last snow accumulation. How can you make a positive difference during challenging times? Look for opportunities to be helpful, encouraging, and practically supportive to people who need both hope and assistance. Let this winter pattern encourage the best qualities in you, in your family, and in your community. What final preparations deserve your attention? Review your emergency supplies one more time. Test your backup heating systems. Charge your electronic devices and verify your vehicle preparation. Most importantly, consider how you might help others around you who may need assistance during the challenging weeks ahead. Who deserves our thoughts and prayers during this weather pattern? Remember in your prayers the safety of all emergency workers, power restoration crews, and essential personnel who will be working in challenging conditions to keep communities functioning. Pray for wisdom for officials making important decisions about travel restrictions and emergency responses. What vulnerable populations especially need our consideration? Keep in your thoughts vulnerable populations, the elderly, those experiencing homelessness, those without adequate heating, and families with limited financial resources who may not have sufficient resources for extended emergencies. Consider how you might help meet these needs. How can we understand this season's purpose? As Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. This is winter season, serving winter's purpose in the natural order. Our response reflects our values and our commitment to caring for our neighbors. What matters most when external circumstances become challenging? When power systems fail and roads become difficult to travel, when heating systems are stressed and supply chains experience disruptions, when modern conveniences are temporarily unavailable, what remains most important is our character and our commitment to supporting each other. What lasting impact might our response to this winter create? This winter weather pattern will eventually end, as all challenging weather does. But the positive legacy we create through our response, the community relationships we strengthen through mutual assistance, and the character we develop through facing challenges together will influence our communities for years to come. What blessings might we seek during this challenging time? May divine protection watch over you and your loved ones through this significant winter weather pattern. May peace be with your hearts during times of concern. May wisdom guide your preparations and decisions. And may love flow through you to neighbors who need both hope and practical help. How can we maintain perspective and connection during challenging weather? Stay warm, stay safe, stay informed, and stay connected to both your community and your faith. Remember that you are not alone in facing these challenges, and that the same wisdom that governs natural systems is available to provide strength for every difficulty you encounter. What meaning and hope can we find in winter's challenges? Winter serves important purposes. Weather patterns have significance, and your response matters more than you might realize. Approach this weather challenge with good preparation, with faith, with love for others, and with confidence that spring will return, bringing with it renewed life and fresh hope. What lasting truths can sustain us through temporary difficulties? Until we meet again for our next weather information update, may you find strength through preparation, comfort through community connection, and deep peace in knowing that no weather pattern lasts forever. But the love we show each other creates positive impact that extends far beyond any temporary challenge. How do we continue growing through challenging experiences? Weather patterns continue changing, and we continue learning and growing as well. Stay informed, stay prepared, stay hopeful, and remember that even during winter's most challenging periods, the promise of spring remains alive within nature's design. May blessings keep you safe, and may kindness shine through you during these meaningful days ahead. What opportunities for growth does this winter season offer? This represents just the beginning of what will be an active winter weather season. Continue following trusted meteorological information sources for updates as conditions develop. Be prepared to help neighbors, support your community, and maintain hope even when challenging weather surrounds you. Stay safe, and we'll provide additional updates again soon.